Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Kage's Domain, where we like to make you feel sensations you thought was dead, but no squealing. Remember that it's all in your head. Alright guys, this is patch 16. We're going to be moving on to the Barbarian as we do our release countdown. There's a few things I want to look over here with the Barbarian. I'm looking forward to doing this. It has been a while since I've played the Barbarian. As a matter of fact, what was it, patch 14, I believe? 14 to 16, yeah, so it has been a while since I've played the Barbarian. So, a couple things have happened here. I really meant to get some of this recorded last night, not today. Unfortunately, the time I had to record, Battle.net went down, so I couldn't really do much about that. And so I ended up spending the time playing Tribes Ascend. It was great because I actually ran into Trebus of SC2 Noob School, and we basically pwned up on some noobs together. It was kind of unfair, really, but that's alright. Okay, other things that happened here has been the reveal site for Diablo 3 has been updated, and it now has Developer Diary 2, so you can go ahead and go there to watch it. I was really hoping to get this class taken care of before the next character reveal. Now, the official site, as of right now, does not have a new character on it. It's still just the Barbarian, but the Monk has been revealed as the next class through IGN because the video is now up. So, but I'll try and catch up as I go. Alright, so a couple things that I want to look at here. So we'll go over the basics as usual. Barbarians, we generate Fury. You have a resource pool of 100. Notice there is no Fury generation, so we can't even get that out of gear. There is a passive that can generate Fury, so you can change that. But as a default level, we don't get that. We have a generator here as in form of Bash, and I'll go over that when I get the next item. But there is one thing I want to look at, because someone pointed this out, informed me of this. I'm looking at this. We have a. Let's take this shield off real quick. Pardon me. So, doesn't change my damage, only changes my armor. But I've got this withered hand axe that does 3.0 damage per second, 2 to 3 damage at 1.2 attacks per second. So I look down here and it says my melee swings are for 2 to 3 damage. Now if I take this off, my DPS drops by a little less than 1 actually, so it goes to 2.8, and it says I do 2 to 3, 2 to 3. So it looks like 2 to 3 damage is what I can do with my fist, really. In fact, let's just let's grab some of these zombies, and we're gonna take a look at this real fast. I hit him. Whoops, that's with Bash. Let's hit him with melee. 3, 3, 2. 2, 3, okay. And now fists. 3, 3. Oh yeah. I can even bash. Look at that. Bashing with my fists. I am a mighty barbarian. Swings fairly slowly, doesn't he? So basically, the reason for the DPS loss is even though I'm doing 2 to 3 damage per swing, I'm losing the 0.2 attacks per second. Your fists, your default attack should always be 1 attack per second. You can see there. So, that being said, here's what I'd like to find out. 3.38. Pardon me, apparently something in my throat today. It's the same whether it's on my main hand or my offhand. And that's what I wanted to look at. So if I do the offhand... Okay. So that was the question. Was whether or not putting it on the offhand would cause me to go into a dual wielding type mechanic where my primary weapon was my fist and my offhand was the second weapon. It could very well have been that was the case in a prior patch, but of course I cannot confirm that at this point. I can only tell you what it is now. So that's interesting information. I wanted to look at that. And I'm glad I have, because that does answer that question.
Are you?
Bash, bash, bash. Nothing like beating down some zombies.
This is killing business.
Grab some experience. We are now level 2. And we have Hammer of the Ancient. So now I'll go over the skills. As this gives me 1 spender, 1 generator. Okay, so Bash for 6 Fury per attack. Brutally smash an enemy for 150% weapon damage with a 20% chance of knockback. That's pretty nice. The knockback can be somewhat annoying if you're trying to hit a monster a lot and you just knock him away, but it's actually kind of useful for larger groups when they start coming in and you might be taking some damage. Knocking an enemy away gives you a chance to get some breathing room, you know, maybe grab an orb or something, you know, for later play. And it's not really going to be a big advantage right now. Obviously, elites and champions are less affected by this. Super uniques like Leoric might not be affected by it at all. I'm fairly certain he isn't, although he can be stunned.
That's one of the wretched monks. There are more of them in the ruins down the road.
Alright, so let's put on our first piece of armor. Which our armor is apparently just paint. Although that would be interesting to dye. You know, get some dyes going on your Barbarian, make him look kind of cool. Tribal war paints there. So, as you can see here, Fury degenerates. We lose Fury over time if we're not attacking anything. Most of you already know this. I'm trying not to go into too many basic concepts this time around, as I basically put an info bomb on you guys on the Demon Hunter playthrough. I basically went through as many things as I could think of. Now, seeing how long it takes for that to go. Okay, so basically it's about 10 seconds before your Fury starts to go down. And you see now it goes down fairly quick. But you can gain Fury from attacking monsters. You can gain Fury from being attacked if they... I don't think they attack. There we go. 88. 89. So, yeah. Gain Fury from attacking, being attacked, and you can gain Fury from breaking destructible objects. So again, I'm just kind of going over the very basics right now. I'm not going to go over every little detail like I did last time. It was my intention to do that. So honestly, what I would recommend is if you have questions about certain systems, if you're fairly new to the Diablo series, I'm going to recommend checking out the Demon Hunter series that I have, as I answered a lot of questions in those. I can still answer questions as I go through this if people ask them. I have no problem with that. It's just putting out that kind of information bomb every time would be tiring, not only for me but for you guys. So we'll try and keep this a little more turt this time around. But I still at least want to make sure I go over some mechanics.
More Fury.
Pow, and he goes flying! It's a home run! Okay, so, since I'm using it, and I haven't gone over it yet, I'm using Hammer of the Ancients, which costs 20 of that Fury that I generate. It calls for some massive hammer to smash enemies directly in front of you for 200% weapon damage. Has a 5% increased critical hit chance, which is great, because if you did watch the other videos, you know you have a basic 5% chance to crit. So with Hammer of the Ancients, because I have no crit gear, unfortunately, that gives me a 10% chance to crit with every Hammer of the Ancients. Pretty nice. It also... It also has a minor area of effect on it. So like if I get these two zombies here, like let me try and make sure I can hit a group.
I need Fury.
Oh, I need Fury now. Okay, great. Give me Fury. Bitte, bitte. Give me your Fury.
I've been healed.
And that's not working out. Let's try that again. I'm pretty sure it has an area of effect. Come on. There we go. Small area of effect, but it is there nonetheless. Useful for large packs of tiny creatures that like to surround you and nip at your heels. Alright, so already getting a nice sword here, 4.7, gives me a 2 to 4 damage spread, so 1 more maximum damage, but also increases my attacks to 1.5 from 1.2. Putting that on, I'll get the 5.46. Of course, if I dual wield, I go down a little bit, just because the difference between these two weapons is just about that great. That doesn't seem a lot, 4.7 DPS compared to 3.0 DPS. But it's just enough. You really want to try and keep about a 15% spread, because when dual wielding you gain 15% attack speed. Now one thing I want to go over real quick, since I have never looked at it, and since I went over all the stats in the Demon Hunter, the one thing I couldn't go over or didn't go over was blocking. I want to take a look at what our default values is for that. So you can see here I have a shield with 8 armor, and it gives me 11% chance to block, and it can block 7 to 12. So it looks like I have to take that at face value, because block amount is listed at 7 to 12. My block chance is listed at 11%, so pretty much my block chance is not modified, at least at this point that I can tell. That's kind of funny, killing things behind the screen. Let's zoom in on it. There it is. Okay. So pretty much that's taken directly at face value at this point. So as far as I can tell, what you see on a shield will be exactly what you can expect. So every 1 in 10 hits, I'll reduce that damage 7 to 12. So, which means if a monster only hits me for 7 damage, he won't hurt me at all.
Not enough fury. I've gained new power.
And we have already hit level 3. Cleave. Yes. Yes. Alright, so Cleave. It'll replace Bash because it is a Fury generator. This generates 5 per attack, so it is actually less than Bash. So you will generate Fury slightly slower, but you swing your weapon in a wide arc to deal 120% weapon damage to all enemies caught in the swing, meaning it's a nice AoE ability. If you can tell here, of course, because it's AoE, it does less damage than Bash, which does 150 compared to this 120. So right now, don't exactly have too much of a choice. Now, I could technically get rid of Hammer of the Ancients using my elective mode, but things die quick enough that I'm not really concerned about doing that. Swing, look at that, just slice. When slicing through a man, you get that personal feedback. Nuclear weapons, goes off, big bang, and you don't get any feeling.
More fury. The task is done. These unholy creatures can rest now.
Alright, for those wondering, I did just get a burst of experience because I completed the bonus objective here. I think that was about 120. When you're doing quests, it is highly recommended that you try and do your sub items just for additional gold experience and all that whatnot. What?
Not enough fury.
Of course, I keep forgetting that unlike other classes, I start with 0 resource and have to build it up. That is the one thing about Barbarians. Classes like the Demon Hunter will always be regaining their resource, whether they're attacking or just standing still. Same with the Wizard and the Witch Doctor. The melee classes are really the only two that don't get their resources back automatically. The Barbarian can lose his where the Monk will not. But what that kind of does is it kind of trades off roles. Ranged classes can start off strong and then have to taper off a little bit as they get resources. Whereas the melee characters pretty much might start off a little weaker and end strong based on whatever skills you use. So let me look real quick to make sure I don't have a better one. 7 and 8. Now let's look at the block chance, because here's something you want to compare with shields. If you decide to play a defensive build, don't just take the armor at face value here, because here's the thing. Now, at these low levels, I am going to get a significant change. For example, this protection, that protection is actually the % of damage reduction I get. I misspoke slightly, at least I believe I misspoke regarding it, because it's a little confusing. You see this reduces all damage from enemies. I said physical. I simply believe that because you have two stats. You have resistance and you have armor. It made sense to me that armor would be the physical and resistance would be the magical. It looks like that's not really the case, especially since you do have physical resistance over here in the resistance side. So with armor, I get this 19.3 damage reduction. So if I were to equip this, I would lose 0.4. So I would go to under 18 thereabouts. Yep, see 18.92. Now here's something to keep in mind though. There's block amount and % to block. So even though that big number is the armor number and it does directly affect how much damage you can take, the other numbers are just as important. So I have the 6 and the 7. This 7 gives me a 16% chance to block, which is 5% more with the same block value. This one gives me a 20% chance to block with the same amount, less armor. So as you can see here I lose 4% damage reduction. Here I lose 9%. So I'm going to lose about 1%, let's just say roughly 1% damage reduction. But a 20% chance to block is really nice. 1 in 5 hits, essentially, right there. I lose the armor, but I almost double my chance to block. So I'm going to put that on for now, since I don't have a better weapon to kind of default to. Keep my 3.0 for now for the future. Alright. Did I look at that? Crack short sword? Yeah, 2.8.
What happened to this treasure? Are the fiends hoarding it?
So the resource system for the Barbarian, because it degenerates over time, pretty much rewards you for moving quickly from combat to combat. Of course, you don't have to, obviously. I'm sitting here, I'm picking things up, and ooh, that's 4 gold. Hold on to that for now. So you obviously don't have to move quickly, but if you do, you will have more resource to go into the next fight. As I talked about, starting off strong for ranged classes because they have resource. Well, if I move fast enough, I can actually start the next combat out quickly as well. Of course, that being said, what I'm going to get here at some later levels is going to be ways to close the gap in combat while also giving me fury, allowing me to actually start fairly strong. But, of course, to compensate for that, they will have cooldowns.
More fury.
So here, because the monsters are kind of scattered about, and Bash might be a better skill at this point, but I will start to see more and more monsters as I go. So Cleave will end up being a good ability. And again, I could always switch to where I have Bash on one button and Cleave on another. That would allow me to pick between my single target and my AoE based abilities. But of course the downside to that would be I would lose the harder hitting Hammer of the Ancients. At this point, this early in the game, that's really not a major issue. Hey, I already found an item with experience gain on it. How lucky am I? Let's put that on. 7 plus 1 experience, not bad. Hey, look at that. More armor on those shoes. Now, what I've got here is I've got a 4.2 and a 4.7. I'm going to kind of show the dual wielding here because they look like they're within approximate range here. I've got my 5.6 DPS to 6.44. The reason for that? I swing faster now. Now I'm going to go ahead and, honestly, they're pretty close. I don't need the defensive stats right now.
Not enough fury.
So I will go ahead and dual wield because it's faster swings. And here's the thing: this does 2 to 4. This does 2. They both do the same damage. The only difference is this weapon swings a little slower. So every time I hit, I should be doing the same consistent damage, which is one thing that dual wielding can suffer from. With weapons that are too different, you will see your damage vary from one swing to the next.
I need fury.
There we go. I was able to hit both of them with those cleave strikes. Alright, anything special over here? Rotting wood. Okay. 4 gold, no hold on to that. Hey, look at that, 5.9 club. So let's go ahead and put that on, because that is even better. 5.9, 3 to 6, so more minimum and maximum. But it's just a little bit slower, which is okay. It's a harder hitting, so I put that on and I get 7.19. If I take the offhand, 7.0. So a very minor difference in the DPS here. So since my damage per second is not really that increased here, I have a choice. I'm not going to go into very deep details about it yet. I want to do more on dual wielding versus all other styles in a bit. But for now, the basics here are that with these, I attack faster, therefore I gain more fury. That's the important part. Because my main weapon is the stronger hitting item, most of my skills, such as Hammer of the Ancients, will be based off of that main hand weapon. And therefore I won't suffer any damage penalties to my major spenders.
This is my room. Do you like it? A miracle has happened.
So right now I can decide, okay, do I want the more fury or do I want to go ahead and put the shield on because that gives me a little more defense. Truth be told, as far as killing monsters is concerned, both are very viable. Simply because, again, the damage 2 to 4, 3 to 6, I would do more consistent damage with the club on rather than dual wielding, but I get more fury generation using the dual wielding. So for now, I think I'll continue to dual wield. And we're going to go ahead and just sell the other equipment.
Found some interesting things on my latest dig.
Oops, give me that back. I want to hold on to that because that's consistent damage. And I've got an experiment for it down the road. And get rid of that and just hold on to the shield for now. Very good, very good. Now, Leah is in my party. If you wanted to, you could...
Here,
well,
let me open the gate.
not be, she's doing something now, so I can't actually do anything. But you could right-click on her and you can
But I don't know much about her.
talk to her. Of course, she doesn't have anything to say
I was
here.
raised by Uncle Deckard.
What of your father?
I'm told he was a great warrior who was lost when Tristram fell to the demons.
So right-click, talk, and there you go. You can see I can actually talk to her about different subjects, which are, I believe, the same subjects you could talk to her in town about. But you can do the same thing with your follower. Just wanted to make sure I briefly touched on that since I hadn't done it for an NPC other than the Templar at this point.
A hidden cellar. Follow me.
Your mother had her secrets.
People said she was a witch, but I never believed it. Captain Dalton!
Alright, let's take out his little minions there.
Not enough fury. The ancients have blessed me.
New skill category with Ground Stomp. Very nice ability. Ground Stomp generates 15 fury, which gives me a nice boost there. I could Ground Stomp and instantly go into, well, not instantly. That's 20, isn't it? So I would still have to attack once or twice, but I could Ground Stomp and almost have a Hammer of the Ancients ready to go. It's a 12-second cooldown, even though it doesn't do damage, because it smashes the ground and it stuns all enemies within 12 yards for 4 seconds. Very nice for controlling a situation. Monsters come around you, you're taking damage. You really don't want to take that damage. Stun those monsters. Of course, it also depends if you want to save it for a bigger monster, but don't save it for too long, or it's pointless. Get some fury by killing some barrels. More armor on that. Let's toss that out. Ooh, a 7.8 axe and a mass grave. Let's break these to get some fury going. Ground stomp.
Not enough fury.
The beautiful thing about ground stomp being a crowd controlling ability is the fact that it generates fury rather than cost, so you can use it whenever you need it. You don't have to worry about generating fury and have something coming up to you. You just have to worry about the cooldown. Alright, so what do we have here? 7.8. Oh, this is great for a melee class. 2 to 3 lightning damage, which is baked in. The 5 to 7 includes the plus 2 to 3. I have covered that a bit before. So this would normally be a 3 to 4 axe, which is about average for an axe of this level. But because of the lightning, it does the it's doing the 5 to 7 now, and 7.8 DPS, 1.3. It's got the same attack speed as the club. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Not only that, but the reason why I think this is great for a melee class is because it has damage dealt is converted to life. So every percentage of damage I do gives me back a little bit of life. So let's put that on. Go to 719 to 951. Look at that. Massive increase. If I put this on, I go to, wow, 10 even. That's impressive. Cool. That's only 2. Get rid of it. Alright. And what is this? Health pickup radius? Okay, I don't need that.
TRISTRAM Cathedral.
Alright, so interesting thing of note here, unless they fixed it, your attacks per second here list the attack speed of the current weapon that's about to swing. So it should be at 1.62. Oh, yep. Okay, yep. They haven't changed it. So 1.62 because of the next weapon. I swing it once, 1.51. That's because of the 15% speed increase, I believe. Is the reason why it's reporting slightly different than what's on here. But as you can see, every swing changes it. What I'd like to do is see, let me see if I ground stomp, does it change? No, it doesn't. I want to see if it changes when I use my hammer. See, that's going to be a big telltale sign. They made a change so that a lot of abilities only use your main hand, but some abilities still alternate. So as we can see here, my generator of Cleave is always alternating. But so far, like Stomp, because it's got a cooldown, doesn't. One thing else I'd like to look at here, what have I got? 902 experience? 931. Okay, the reason why I wanted to look at that, because it was asked of me if killing enemies with the environment gave you experience. The reason why that was asked is because I've done some research into environmental kills not giving you items. So it stood to reason that if they died from the environment, they might not also give you experience. Apparently, you do get the experience even when you kill them with the environment, but it's almost looking like they still don't give you equipment or loot when they're killed that way. Alright, now that I've got some fury up, let's destroy a few candelabras here. Barrels. Alright, so I've got these guys coming up on me. 1.62, 1.5, 1.62, 1.5. So it's looking like Hammer of the Ancients will alternate. So it's really hard to tell what skills are only affected by the main hand. And what I plan to do in the future, and this is why I'm keeping my 3.0 weapon, is I want to see what abilities... Hold still, guys. I want to see what abilities will alternate damage. Because it could be that it still is based off the main hand damage, but is just reflecting the attack speed increase of dual wielding. You know, it's not really worth items, but it gives me pulverized records, and you know what, it's just kind of fun to make them sit still while they are about to die. Alright, so melee class cannot use bows, although oddly enough, wizards and witch doctors can. And that's my old one. Okay. What's that worth? 4. Yep, hold on to it. Alright, where is this chandelier? Is it over... it's over there. Now, I did mention it before, I'll go ahead and mention it again. There is a damage reduction that melee classes get, both the Barbarian and the Monk. It's not shown here. This says 19.35. Blizzard instituted a base 30% damage reduction for melee characters because they are always getting in the thick of things. Basically, you will be taking far more hits than any ranged class if you're going out there and swinging your weapons around. So they wanted to make sure that melee classes didn't just get wrecked in higher difficulty modes. And it's also probably one of the measures they want to do is to keep people from thinking that life leech builds are the only way to survive. So now you can play however you want. Oh, getting a little chunky here. Now these abominations, I think they act like environmental kills because they're traps, basically. You blow them up and they kill everything around them. Because I didn't get the killing blow, I think that my magic find doesn't factor. You know, because you always have a base magic find. But if the environment gets the kill, the environment doesn't have a magic find. I really should slot some topazes in the environment. That's a Diablo 2 joke, never mind. So I'm guessing that's the reason why this is happening. We still get the experience because in this game the monster death triggers the experience, whereas the method of death triggers magic find. Interesting to know, really. It was kind of a shock to have this pointed out, honestly, because someone did point it out to me on my channel that they're like, you know, it doesn't look like you're getting any items from that. And I'm like, well, I'll test it. And lo and behold, my testing proved that it was fairly accurate. I mean, you notice here, nothing I've killed with the environment is giving me anything. I'm not too worried about it. At this point, I've kind of put some thought into it, and it's like, you know what, the things that you need to kill that are really worth it are going to be champion and elite, champion packs and elites, and those don't die from the environment very easily. I mean, you pretty much have to, you hit them with the environment and they get stunned. Come here, boys. Both of yous. You too. Ooh. Hello. Loss of resources. Alright, this is fairly rare that this occurs. It doesn't usually get this bad. Come on. Come out of it. Come out of it. You can do it. Let's see what we got here. 2 and 2, 5.6. Okay, I don't need those. The game is not optimized. I've talked about the game doing this and this being a beta-only thing, Blizzard has stated that that it's not optimized, that optimizations of that nature happen later in a game's development cycle.
My name is Lockdown.
Good saber. Of course, it's made worse by my recording with Fraps. Just keep that in mind, since the Fraps does constantly send to the hard drive and the files are fairly large. Can really make what you're seeing a lot worse. If I wasn't recording, that probably would have been a steep drop, but it wouldn't have gone down to the single digits like it just did. I was staring at a 1 on my DPS, my frames per second thing. As a matter of fact, here, I'll go ahead and put that on. That's Control R if you didn't catch it on the Demon Hunter. And you guys can kind of keep along with that if you want, to kind of see where things are going. So that's the same. Not magical, but more damage. 5 to 10, so same minimum, higher maximum, and that's without lightning damage. I would lose the damage converted to life, but what I can do about that is, let's put this on. I get 12.8, and if I dual wield, do I get more? Yep, 12. Well, I lose. I actually lose some. Now here's where dual wielding can actually be a benefit to me. For one, again, I gain resources from attacking faster. Of course, the truth is, because with dual wielding you also will use your spenders a bit more, and compared to, say, two-handed champions, come here. See, there you go. Oh, sweet, more experience gear. Okay. Where was I? One more thing. Braces, Okay. Here's the thing about this. Compared to two-handed weapons, typically your one-handed weapons will do less damage, so therefore dual wielding means you'll be doing less damage per hit, theoretically. It all depends on what you find in the field, as some one-handed weapons can be better than two-handed weapons. If you watch the end of my Demon Hunter series, as it is now, part 5, you'll see that I get a one-handed crossbow that does more damage than any two-hander I've ever found for that playthrough. The thing about using this weapon is that I will get the bonuses of the weapon on my offhand, which means I do get the lightning damage, which is not a big deal. But the big deal is the 1% damage dealt converted to life. So I still get that. Now, keep in mind, I can't confirm whether or not it's for all hits or only hits with that weapon. I believe it's a universal affix.
I've gained new power.
Alright, so a new ability, Rend, is a new spender. Let's take a quick look at that. From Hammer of the Ancients, we go to Rend. Costs 20 Fury, same as Hammer of the Ancients, only this is a sweeping strike that causes all nearby enemies to bleed for 210% weapon damage as physical for 3 seconds. So 210, as you can tell, just 10% extra weapon damage compared to Hammer of the Ancients. So technically, Hammer of the Ancients is a little stronger, simply because it doesn't have the 10%, but it has the additional crit chance. That's kind of hard to say, actually, because 10% compared to 5% crit, they're probably on par with each other, really. The difference being that Hammer of the Ancients has a small AoE, where Rend is actually kind of a large AoE around you. Its range is not that high to begin with, but there are runes that can fix that if you want to use them. So this 210 over 3 seconds basically comes out to be about 70% weapon damage per second, which is actually a pretty good amount of damage in a second, to be quite honest with you. So I'm running a little long again. I know that much because I took a brief look at my recording there as I got distracted. But I'm almost to CAIN, so we'll be able to kind of call it quits there. Seriously, man. Well, my computer apparently did not like me clicking on that bookshelf, did it? No, no, sir. It did not. Oh, yeah, well, I'll teach it. Look at this. I'm going to hit another one. Ha ha, that's what I thought. Master of my own destiny. And if you're just arriving, yes, we have a little bit of silliness around here from time to time. Alright, so let's go ahead and rend him, and as you can see, there it goes.
Not enough fury.
So as you can see here, it's kind of a small AoE ability, but very useful if anything decides it wants to try and surround you. Okay, so anything good here? Hey, yep, that's right. I got the +2 experience armor, and I forgot to put it on when I found it earlier. My apologies for that one. Again, I got kind of distracted there. I'll just take away these that I don't need. What were those worth? 2. Yeah, don't need it. Wow, 23 armor on this one, and that's not even magical. I don't even need the health globe pickup range, so I'll use that and just get rid of those. And hey, look, magic find boots with more armor. Da 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 da! I'm loving it. Seriously, I would love to just watch them kill him. Look at this. I don't even move, and they just ignore him. How is that even fair? These things are just falling. Look at that. You see there, I kind of alternated my blows a little bit. I didn't just spam Rend, as I don't believe it stacks. I believe it would just refresh. So, from that perspective, spamming Rend would be less efficient use of my Fury. So what I would do is, as you saw there, I used it once, waited 1 to 2 seconds, used it again, so I still got the effect of using it and keeping it up on the boss there that I was fighting. I got a nice magic sword with 10 damage per second on it.
We must discuss the fallen star.
So this is great. Look at this. I got this is 10.5 here, 5 to 10, 140, 5 to 9. So it's 1 less maximum damage, but more attacks per second because of the increased attack speed. Very nice, honestly. Kind of hate to lose the life drain, but let's take a look here. 1313, 1250, and put that on there. 14.74. Definite increase, so I can get rid of that. Hold on, I want to put what I want to keep over here, I think. Don't need that bow. Keep that, keep that, keep that. Okay, very good. Gold pickup, gold pickup. Don't need either of those. Alright, I'm sitting pretty good now. Let's just make sure there are no random enemies that want to jump out at me and give me loot. Here, loot pinata. Nothing. Shame that. Alright, I know it's been a long time coming, and Barbarian fans, I hope this is catering to your wants, needs, and desires. Yes, your deepest, darkest desires. Barbarian is very fun to play, I will admit this. I like it, getting in close. You know, you take some damage, but you give it back in spades. It's feeling good still. As you can see, I'm fighting larger packs, which make the Barbarian feel even stronger than what he felt like back in patch 14. So, this is looking good. I look forward to continuing this series. So at least I can get this up before at least maybe around when the Barbarian gets announced, because the upload time usually takes a while. So I'll have that up for you. I'm not going to record the next part today. My work schedule has changed, so it provides me a little less time today than I usually have. So I will get this up. I'll continue the next part, hopefully not tomorrow, as I'll be busy tomorrow, but the day after, and I will continue to do this until I can hopefully catch up. You know, playing a catch-up game when I've got a month crunch time here. 30 days, guys. 30 days. It's getting close. Anyway, I've rambled on too much here at the end about nothing, so please, as usual, if you want to leave comments, feedback, suggestions, or questions, please drop them at the comment section below or at theshadowpost@gmail.com. And if you do like the video, please thumb it up, as it does help me out quite a bit. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys all in the next segment.